Hi, good morning. You're watching us on Voice News Network Canada. My name is Sudhir Anand. Today we have come to you to introduce you, not rather, I would say, to meet with you with Mr. Deepak Anand. Deepak Anand is a Canadian politician and who has been elected to the Legislative Assembly of Ontario first time in 2018 and then re-elected in 2022 June. So he's here with us. Before we start with him, ask him a few questions, talk to him, and see like what exactly the new initiatives he's coming with. Let me tell you something more about him. Deepak Anand was heavily involved in the community even before being elected. He was a former director for the Indus Community Services, the former director for the Telecare Brampton, the former director of the Canadian Federation of the Truckers, the former co-chair of the Malton Building Community Projects, founder of the Meaningful Media, and producer and the host of the Radio Sanj, a radio show which brought the local charities and offered them free exposures. He also worked on other projects such as the e-seniors, wherein Anand would work with the local youth and teach basic computer skills to the seniors. In addition, Anand was involved with the Colors Can Talk, which brought an artist to help engage children with the autism, as well as being involved in the immigration mentorship program. Deepak Anand is native from Punjab, originally from the Mohali, India. He went through the Punjab University for Chemical Engineering and worked in India for a few years before immigrating to Canada in year 2000. He worked for some time as quality manager within the automotive industry. After a few years, he shifted to obtain a Master of Business Administration from the Schulich School of Business. He then worked as a financial analyst at Morgard before buying and running a small company that distributed automotive parts around the country. So this was a brief introduction of Mr. Deepak Anand, who's re-elected in election which happened in year 2022, June 2nd. He is currently parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skill Development. So let's welcome Mr. Deepak Anand. दीपक जी, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है हमारे प्रोग्राम पे।
सुधीर जी, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आपने तो ऐसे लग रहा था जैसे मुझे लग रहा था मेरा पूरा का पूरा बायोग्राफी आपने पढ़ दिया। एंड आई यूजुअली जोकिंगली समटाइम्स से कि मुझे भी कुछ चीज़ें नहीं पता थी जो आपने याद दिला दी मुझे वापस। आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
नहीं दीपक जी, एक्चुअली क्या है, आई विल बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट विद यू, बहुत सारे लोग तो आपको जानते हैं क्योंकि आप दोबारा से इलेक्ट हुए हैं सेकेंड टाइम। बहुत सारे लोग जानते हैं, बट बहुत सारे लोग जिनको आपके इन क्रेडेंशियल्स के बारे में मालूम नहीं है, तो मेरा फ़र्ज़ बनता है उनको ये सब बातें बताना, सो दैट दे फील प्राउड कि द इलेक्टेड मेंबर फ्रॉम आवर कम्युनिटी इज़ वेरी वेल एजुकेटेड एंड हैज़ बीन वर्किंग विद द कम्युनिटी फॉर वेरियस प्रोग्राम्स एंड वेरियस इनिशिएटिव्स। सो ये एक आइडिया था पीपल के लोगों के साथ, उनको पंजाबी च कहते हैं ना साझा करना, तो वो साझा किया मैं उन्होंने नाल। तो तुसी दसो हुण जो तुहाडे कोल मिनिस्ट्री की डिटेल हुण इस वक्त हैगी है, बीइंग ए पार्लीमेंटरी असिस्टेंट टू द मिनिस्टर ऑफ लेबर, इमीग्रेशन, ट्रेनिंग एंड स्किल डेवलपमेंट, व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज़ द रोल?
सो सुधीर जी, जिवें कि तुसी आप गल कीती हैगी है, आई हैव बीन इन्वॉल्व विद द यूथ फॉर अ लॉन्गेस्ट टाइम एंड मैनू जे मैं अगर समराइज़ करना होवे जो अपनी पूरी लाइफ नू, एंड आई ऑलवेज टेल दिस फ्रॉम द बिगनिंग, वन थिंग आई लर्न फ्रॉम माई फादर वॉज कि उन्होंने मैंने कहा सीगा कि जद भी कभी कोई तुहाडे तो हैल्प मंगण आंदा है, इहदा मतलब तुसी लेट हो गए हो। जे कोई बाहर ठंड विच ठिठुर रहा हैगा, यू डोंट वेट फॉर दैम टू आस्क फॉर हैल्प, यू शुड गो एंड हैल्प दैम। सो मेरी एक ये जिंदगी दे विच एक तरीके दे कह लो कि एक मंत्र जिहा बन गया कि वैन यू गो आउट एंड लुक फॉर opportunities to help people, you get the blessings. More the blessing you get, more opportunities you get, and that means more blessings you will get.
Yeah, that's a great value.
जी, so उस पक्षों अगर देखा जाए तो मैं आई एम सो ग्लैड एंड आई एम थैंकफुल टू गॉड फॉर गिविंग मी एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू वर्क इन अ मिनिस्ट्री जिहदे च जिवें तुसीं आप इहनूं डिस्क्राइब कीता हैगा, इट हैज़ ट्रेनिंग, इट हैज़ स्किल डेवलपमेंट and ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ within training and skill development ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ there is lot more work which is happening। 2003 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 2018 ਤੱਕ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਜਦ ਪਿਛਲੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਸੀਗੀ, almost close to 300,000 jobs left our province of Ontario। ਔਰ ਉਹਦਾ ਕਾਰਨ ਬੜਾ ਸਿੰਪਲ ਸੀਗਾ, ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਦ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਇੱਕ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਮੈਨ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ, ਜਦ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਰੈਵਨਿਊ 10 ਹੈ, ਐਕਸਪੈਂਸਿਸ 12 ਨੇ, so what options do you have? One option is you want to close it. Second option is you want to increase the revenue. Third option is you will reduce your expenses. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੋਏ what businessmen were doing, they were going to China, they were going to Mexico, so the jobs were leaving. So when Premier Ford formed the government, the first thing he did, he reduced the expenses. How? By reducing the red tape, by making sure that the taxes are lower, WSIB premiums are lower. ਜਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਲੋਅਰ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਇਹ ਪਿਆ, almost $7 billion per year ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ going back into the businesses, reducing their expenses, and that resulted in more jobs to the extent that ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਦਿਨ ਅਗਰ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ, ਇੱਕ ਵਕਤ 3 ਲੱਖ ਜੌਬਸ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ 'ਚ ਚਲੀ ਗਈਆਂ ਸੀ, ਅੱਜ 3,40,000 ਜੌਬਸ, 340,000 ਜੌਬਸ are vacant. So what we're trying to do is, through this ministry, I'm going to talk more about in the next question.
That is right in terms where what you said कि jobs ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਉਹ recreate ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ ਜਾਂ you know certain benefits were being given to businesses, but ਉਹ marginalized ਹੈਗੇ ਆ. I mean WSIB expenses are not very huge for any business for that matter, and so-called is basically you know ਜਿਹੜੇ factories shift ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ Mexico, China ਜਾਂ US ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, they are not going to come back unless I mean there is a lucrative marginalized नहीं lucrative offers अगर तक जब तक नहीं आंदियाँ तब तक those people, I know various industries being in media, we have seen people moved out, they either went south of border or they went to the Mexico, or they have you know resources उन्होंने कितना या offshore resources दे करके चाइना चले गए या इंडिया चले गए या वियतनाम चले गए. So those people are not going to come back. Yes, China the situation is so different है, even in the labor market, even in internationally, people are or countries are you know trying to avoid Chinese goods for whatever the reason, political or you know, I don't want to go into those details. But at the same time, you know, unless we have that offering being done in Ontario being the hub, the engine, economy engine to Canada, right, unless we do certain things, certain measures to a large level, to a you know extraordinary level, those people are not going to come back.
So you said it so well. So you're absolutely right. अगर आप छोटी जी एग्जांपल लईए, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਦ ਆਪਣਾ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਆਫਿਸ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਹੀ 에ਅਰਪੋਰਟ ਹੈਗਾ, ਜਦ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ 에ਅਰਪਲੇਨ ਲੈਂਡ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ, so they have landing gears.
Yeah.
So as you know, many people don't know this कि 4 चों 3 landing gear, 3 out of every 4 landing gear in North America are manufactured here in Ontario.
Yeah.
We have a monopoly kind of a thing. So similarly, learning from that experience, what we're going to do is we are going to invest into the electrical vehicles ਜਿਹੜੀ batteries ਨੇ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ monopoly ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ. ਕਿਉਂ? The reason for that is ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ minerals ਨੇ, we all have those minerals, ring of fire ਹੈਗਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ. Automotive ਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ, we are the second biggest hub of automotive in North America, after Michigan. So we have that. So if you put these things together, and you know that the future is for the electrical vehicles, so you will see a lot of manufacturing happening into Ontario in the future. और वो जिहड़ा हैगा उसी करके we are putting together the infrastructure. So answer to your question is yes, there will be a lot of, in fact about $8 billion investment already Ontario ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ. Major 5 ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ auto companies ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, all of them have invested heavily into the electrical vehicle in Ontario, and that is going to bring back those jobs, those companies who had been misplaced.
That was one industry being very specific you're talking about, and EV, like electrical vehicles, the jada future is there definitely, nobody can deny that, but at the same time there's no infrastructure available in terms of the support function as well. So batteries, what you're talking about is very good. I really appreciate Ontario government investing heavily into those, but at the same time, Paji, it will be very difficult for a ordinary person like me, who for number one to afford electrical vehicle. So Tesla is available, which is almost like minimum is like almost $70,000 to $100,000.
Right.
Number two, see, even if I buy that, say I live in Brampton, there's no charging station in Brampton. There's nothing there. So if we are neglecting some of the cities for whatever the reasons are, Mississauga, there's a one at Erin Mills, right? So it is obvious, like we need to have not one, like when we go out to fill up a gas, every nook and corner has a gas station.
Absolutely.
Right? So we need to have that kind of infrastructure in place once people start buying those EVs. So I don't know what government is doing on that part.
Absolutely. So answer to that actually is that Minister of Energy just recently, just before the election happened, unveiled a big project where there is a huge investment done on those electrical vehicle charging stations, and all along the highway they have been already in place. And again, as we said, the expectation is by 2030 you will see a lot more electrical vehicles. And as we're building the vehicles, you talked so well about infrastructure. Putting infrastructure is extremely important. That is why the government is doing is, if you really look at next 10 years, Sudhirji, what we learned from Japan is when you invest money into infrastructure, it creates jobs.
Definitely.
Plus it creates an opportunity for the businesses to grow. And that is what we're doing is, in fact, in next 10 years, the government is going to be spending approximately $158 billion. ਹੁਣ 158 billion ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੱਗਣੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ we can talk about highway construction ਚ, ਇਹਦੇ ਚ hospital construction ਚ ਲੱਗਣੇ ਨੇ, road to the north ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਲੱਗਣੇ ਨੇ. So when 1.5 million houses are to be built, so when you're doing all these construction, what are you doing? Basically you are going to increase the number of jobs. So if all put together, मैं हमेशा कहना हूँ ना कि अगर एक छोटा जिहा एग्जाम्पल ले लिए कि एक बंदा जिहड़ा अज दे दिन जॉब नहीं कर रहा, so let's assume he's taking some welfare, so he's taking one check from the government, and the same person, if we give them the support or we give them the education and they start working, so what happens is now instead of taking a check, they're actually paying or contributing to the government. So they are actually giving the check to the government. So the gap is not one, the gap is actually double. So instead you're being expense, now you're an asset and you're putting the revenue back into the coffer of the government.
No, that is true. Yeah. I agree with you what you said.
Yeah.
But this is basically, I would sorry to say, but I would say like we were talking about the EV charge stations.
Ji.
Right? The numbers are so little. A normal person, when he buys an EV, it will become very difficult for him to, either he has to put a charging point at his place, at his home, in his garage, right? And I'll be very honest with you. When I took one of the EVs of Tesla and approached the Tesla company to put a charger, which I bought the charger, and just the point where the people, first of all, they said, oh, we don't have a time. It will be done in 6 months' time, or it will be done in 7 months' time. And the charges for the installation of that charger was, kind of mind-boggling, $7,000 to $13,000 just to put that charger. Just the charges they were asking to install, right? And these kind of things, when unless government intervene and say that, when you say you're in the Ministry of Skill Development and Training. The skill development, I would say there are thousands and thousands of electricians, those are certified. They should be given that opportunity to make that money. And they will be charging. And when I approached one of the local electrician who is certified, and he installed that one for just $900 plus taxes. So there's a difference of almost 10 times, what car companies, offering. So there are so many loopholes in the system where you may need to intervene, being in the Ministry of Training and Skill Development. At the same time, colleges and students, those are coming from various other countries for their development, who are going to settle down here in Canada. The basic aim for them to come here to settle in Canada. Absolutely. The kind of education, the quality education they are getting is a very big question mark there. Huge question mark there. Recently we have even carried a news for 3 institutions in Quebec who has been, their license has been cancelled. because of the quality education they were unable to provide. So similar thing is going on here in Ontario as well. There are colleges and institutes which are open have, I mean, if you go and physically check them, their facilities, they are just one room operations. One room operations. I mean, how we can expect them to even, you know, they are just doing a paper formalities. They are basically sitting and charging students enormous amount of money and giving them nothing in return.
And this is where I always tell every parent, ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੜੀ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਮੰਗ ਕੇ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਤੋਂ ਲੈਣੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ. So before you send your child to Canada, to any of the schools, make sure ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਡਿਊ ਡਿਲੀਜੈਂਸ ਕਰੋ, ਪਤਾ ਕਰੋ ਕਾਲਜ ਬਾਰੇ, ਔਰ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਰੈਫਰੈਂਸ ਲੈਟਰ ਲਓ, ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੋ ਤਾਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਭੇਜੋ. ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਾਂਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਇਸ profession ਚ ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਨੇ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਉਹ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਕੰਸਲਟੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ I don't know what is the another name for that, those who send the kids to the colleges. ਦੇਖੋ ਐਟ ਦੀ ਐਂਡ ਆਫ ਦ ਡੇ ਜਦ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਨੋਬਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਮੇਕ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਬਿਫੋਰ ਯੂ ਸੈਂਡ them or suggest them an institute, you should make sure that that institute is legitimate or ਉਹ proper ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ.
No, that is true. I mean, majority of the institutions which are here offering those classes or the diplomas or certifications, they're all affiliated. They're affiliated. They have the licensing from the government too, but that was just given the licenses. I mean on the promises like they will expand, they will have the right professors, teachers, training space and all that, which is not the case in majority of the cases.
So that is what another thing I would say.
So you being there in the ministry, I mean either you reopen that. I mean I know it's opening a warm box. I mean you open and those things.
There is nothing like that.
No,
in fact I would say ਜਿਸ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤੇ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕਾਲਜ, ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਇੰਸਟੀਟਿਊਟ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਫੰਕਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ, ਇਨਫੈਕਟ ਉਹ ਐਸੈਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਲਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਲਾਇਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, feel free to reach out to your MPP office. And if you are not able to reach out to your MPP office or you want me to convey your message, you can always call our office. Sudhir ji, bilkul ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਆਫਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਜ਼ਦੀਕ ਸਾਡਾ ਆਫਿਸ ਹੈਗਾ. We are on 7895 Tranmere Drive, unit number 11, and ਸਾਡਾ ਫੋਨ ਨੰਬਰ ਹੈਗਾ 9056960367. In fact, Sudhir ji, at the end of the day, you can
give an email address as well. So people may reach out to you through an email. Right? So it is very important, as what Deepak ji said, if you find any of the institutions which are not giving a proper training, proper details or proper education to your children or even the students, those are watching this, they find this shortfall in terms of their education, in their certification and diploma programs, they can always approach Mr. Deepak Anand through his email, which he's going to give, and I will scroll down that email on the screen as well.
बड़ा simple है जी, मेरा first name dot last name co@pc.ola.org, deepak.anand co@pc.ola.org.
So it is very important for Ontarian, very important for Canadian to have the proper skill management learning. Unless the students who comes from any part of the world for the education purpose should be given the proper education, so they are trained, they are skilled to work in this community, to work within Ontario, to work within those businesses, and businesses also feel proud of the fact that we have the world class institutions to train them. We have so many people coming in. There's a labor shortage. There's so many other things which Deepak ji is going to, speak about that as well. So we need to do those things, skillfully, smartly, and passionately. So Deepak ji, say about something about those training programs and
definitely
the labor shortage and all those details.
Definitely. So another thing which I wanted to talk to you, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੈਂ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਇਹ ਹੈਗੀ ਕਿ government believes that when you there is a jobs need people and people need jobs.
Definitely.
ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ jobs ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੋਕੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ job ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ, ਸਾਨੂੰ job ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ. So what is the missing link? The missing link always is the skill.
Definitely.
कि फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल कि प्लंबर की जॉब हैगी तो थानू प्लंबर की जॉब भरन वास्ते साडे कोल बंदा हैगा पर उन्होंने प्लंबिंग नहीं आती हैगी. So what government is doing is there are 3 different programs. The number 1 program is called Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, OYAP program. ये program ਹੁੰਦਾ है सुधीर जी for any student between the grade 9 to 12. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹਾਈ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮੰਨ ਲਓ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ. There is an option for them. They actually can get help from their school, from the government. Government will help you to find apprenticeship and they will pay you to work at the apprenticeship. So this is the first program called OYAP program. You can reach out to your guidance counselor at your high school. And again, if you want more information, you can always call our office. The second program is called Better Jobs Ontario. ਇਹਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ second career. ਸੇਨ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ. ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਬਿਫੋਰ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਗ੍ਰੇਟਰ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ 에ਅਰਪੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ 50 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਪੈਸੇਂਜਰ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. ਉਹ ਨੰਬਰ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਦਿਨ ਬਿਕਾਜ਼ ਵੀ ਜਸਟ ਗੋਨ ਥਰੂ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਐਂਡ ਟੂਰਿਜ਼ਮ ਉਨੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਆਈ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ. ਦੈਟ ਵੈਂਟ ਡਾਊਨ ਟੂ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ 20 to 25 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਨਾਓ, which means ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ 에ਅਰਪੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਟੈਕਸੀ ਡਰਾਈਵਰ ਸੀਗੇ ਹੁਣ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਉਨੀ ਰਿਕੁਆਇਰਮੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹੀ ਹੈਗੀ. Now in this case, if those taxi drivers, I'm just giving one example, it could be anyone else, if you were working in a job ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ jobs ਦੀ ਹੁਣ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ requirement ਘੱਟ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਹੈ because there is a less demand and you're trying to you feel that your service is no more required in that job, rather than staying home, what you can do is you can reach out to the government office and we will make sure there are many professions where we need people. So this is called Better Job Ontario or second career, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ government will give you up to $28,000 ਔਰ $28,000 ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਇਨਕਲੂਡਡ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ. $500 per week to run your home, your tuition, even your transportation cost. When you put these things together, and they're usually the courses are less than 52 weeks. Some courses are as good as 16 weeks. So assume this, if you're looking for changing a career and if you believe that your job where you were working is there's not much opportunities, there is many jobs out there where we are having unfilled vacancies. You can always take a training supported by the government and get those jobs. So this is the second. The third one is called Skill Development Fund. ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਸੇਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਸੁਧੀਰ ਜੀ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਜੌਬਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਲੋਕ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੌਬ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਮਿਸਿੰਗ ਲਿੰਕ ਹੈਗਾ ਸਕਿੱਲਸ. ਸੋ ਦੇਰ ਆਰ ਮੈਨੀ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਵਿਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਸਕਿੱਲ. ਸੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬੱਚੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ 16 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 52 ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਤੱਕ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ. ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ. ਫॉर ਐਨ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਲਈਏ, ਕੰਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ. ਕੰਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਰੇਮਿੰਗ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ, ਇਲੈਕਟ੍ਰੀਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਆਪਣੀ ਡਰਾਈ ਵਾਲ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਲਗਾਉਣੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਦੋਜ਼ ਕੋਰਸਿਸ, ਸਮਟਾਈਮ ਦੋਜ਼ ਕੋਰਸਿਸ ਆਰ ਓਨਲੀ ਫॉर 16 weeks. So the youth or anyone can join those organization, get this training, and not only this training, they actually come with the job. So that's another way we can make sure that we can fulfill those vacant positions. Again, मैं यही request करूँगा, if you have a will to work in the skilled trades, reach out to our office and we will make sure that not only we will provide you the information, we will walk with you, we'll hold your hand and we'll make sure that you get not just the information but the service and a job with it.
No, that is very nice. I mean, you have heard him very right. He is there for you in terms of helping for getting the newer skills, newer training, and there's a labor market which is there in terms of to absorb you for the any of those jobs. So once you have the training and skills, you will be able to join them, and it is a purpose of the life for everyone to earn to the level where they can satisfactorily can take care of their homes, family and children and all those people. But my basic question still was not answered for the people, the students who comes in. Students are not going to get that training program what you have just mentioned. That is for the citizens or the permanent residents children's for that matter. So students who comes in, their primary goal is to settle in Canada, to get immigration, to get the PR.
Absolutely
Right. So for them, I mean, I have had that experience personally within my office. People join us, take a training for 4 months, 6 months, and then they leave. So there should be some kind of, a system which should govern by the government to say, like, if you have joined this job, you're taking the proper skill and trainings and those things, you should be able to fulfill the vacancy within that organization rather than moving out to go somewhere else. And they are seeking for that PR, they are seeking for that, a kind of job requirement to fulfill for the Immigration Canada to settle down here. So when we are inviting those students, first of all, their training is not done properly, their skills are not done properly, they have problem in speaking English, they have problem in, getting into the right level of understanding of the job. And once they gain that, they move out. So I don't know, in some part of those system within the government, if they can intervene and make sure the person who gets the training and skill developments and those things while working in the company, they should continue working there at least unless their immigration is done.
So you touched on a point, Sudhirji, is called employee retention.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is, and I'll tell you, when I came to Canada, this was something which I still remember. So my boss once came, and so I was working as a lab technician. And I truly believe, देखो जिस बंदे ने तुहानू पहली opportunity दिती हैगी, वो तुहाडे ते risk ले रहा हैगा, वो अपने पल्लियों तुहानू training दे रहा हैगा. और I truly believe the world is two-way. When somebody is doing something for you, it is your responsibility to do something back for them as well. So मैं तो यही कहूँगा इस वक्त कि I still remember my time. मैंने सुधीर जी को job मिली, ते I started as a lab technician. And I got another job for 50 cents more. So what I actually did was, rather than joining, I went back to my boss and I said I got a job which is paying me 50 cents more. And he laughed at me. He goes, so, do you want to go and join? I said, no, I'd rather stay here, learn more, give back more, because if I can stay back here, I can actually build a much better reputation. And you will not believe this. I actually left that company in 4 years as a quality manager. I started as a lab technician. I moved up as a quality technician. Of course, I took courses in between. And then I became quality engineer. And from quality engineer, I became quality manager. So I had an option to go out, make 50 cents more. Rather than taking those 50 cents more, I decided to stay there and work longer. And if I have to summarize my experience, I probably on a longer run actually could achieve more than making that 50 cents extra.
That is true, Deepak ji. I agree with you, and I really admire the decision you have taken. But the loyalty factor in this time of the, era of like the 20th century, most of the students who comes here, they don't have that. They don't have the value. So unless they are being restricted officially, they are being restricted in terms of saying, okay, you joined this, you have taken the skills, you have taken the, the training. So you should continue working there unless, you complete that working of say 2 years or 3 years, you will not be eligible for the immigration. So those kind of, since you're part of the immigration also, you're part of the labor, you're part of the skills and training program as well. So there should be some kind of a law which should restrict them, restrict those people. It will be beneficial for the country, it will be beneficial for the province, it will be beneficial for the companies who are giving that program or training them and all. And at the same time, it will be beneficial to the new employee also.
So only thing I want to say is, before we move on to the next question, Sudhirji, I totally respect that what you're coming as a small business owner. When you're investing into someone, you expect that investment to give you the return as well. So I will humbly request everybody, when it comes to the employment retention, to the employers also. So we need to respect our employees to the extent that we understand if there is a requirement, we should pay them according to their education, qualification, and the effort they're doing. In terms of as a government, although it is a federal issue, this immigration, my immigration is only restricted to the Ontario nominee program.
My point is immigration which is linked with the labor, training and skill development. There should be some kind of provincial restrictions in terms of the training for the legitimate businesses or legitimate even educational institutions, or legitimately the people those are coming here, they should also be having this kind of a responsibility, whether it is enforced. It should be a responsibility in terms of doing the best part in terms of working to those industries and companies. Otherwise what happens is majority of the people with the minimum wage, they'll jump from a grocery store to the Tim Horton to McDonald's so they are not actually developing any skills.
I like it what you just said, so I'm going to rephrase what I said. I just want to say this to everyone who's watching this, and you have a choice. The choice is very simple. You are in a province, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਸ state province ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅੱਜ 3,40,000 jobs vacant ਨੇ.
340,000 jobs.
3,40,000 jobs vacant ਨੇ. 158 billion dollar. $1 billion ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੁੰਦਾ 1000 million.
Yeah.
158 billion dollar ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਅਗਲੇ 10 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨਵੈਸਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ, which means we will be building 1.5 million houses. We will be building infrastructure. We will be building subways. We will be building hospitals. We will be building universities. So ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੰਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਪਏਗੀ. ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਪਏਗੀ means ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਕਿੱਲ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਪਏਗੀ. So if you're looking for a career, think about the skilled trades. You will never go wrong in the skilled trades. You will not even have to fight for the minimum wage. Salary on these jobs, Sudhir ji, crane operator ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ heavy equipment operator ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ, ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਡਰਾਈਵਰ ਹੀ ਹੈ.
ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਦੇਖੋ, they have that skill.
They have that skill.
They have the skill. They have a proper training to do those things.
And the income is between 60,000 to 100,000.
That is fine. But when they join that company to start to acquire that skill, to acquire that training, so once they have the skill and training, they leave that job. They go to somebody else.
Well, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕੋ ਵੀ ਜਾਣਗੇ ਵੈਸੇ ਤੇ I'm not sure. I understand that. So it's basically somebody's training.
Small businesses, SME.
Yeah.
SME, they are the worst sufferer in terms of they are the one who's imparting the training, giving them skills, giving them all qualifications and details to operate that machinery or equipment or any of those things. Are being again they have to do the same thing again. They have to get a new employee, again give the training, again do those things, and again it happens to him. So I mean, where this SME, that small businesses or medium scale businesses, where they will go, they will keep on giving training. They become the training institute rather than doing their business.
And that is where your government actually helps you to compensate you some of the training costs.
It's not the compensation alone.
But having said that,
it is the time spent. Say I want to concentrate in my business to get more return on my investments, to get more business, to get more money to run my business. But if I kept on imparting training to those people and they'll keep on hopping from one place to another, so I will keep on giving them training and they'll keep on leaving and going some other places. There should be some restrictions that way. At least it should, if he has been given 6 months training, he should at least work for 6 months before he hopping. There should be some kind of restrictions should come from the provincial government, not the federal government, provincial government. So they ensure if a person is being paid, when the business is being paid for one person's training, that trainee should stay there for some time. So it will be some relief to the small businesses or medium scale industries.
Again,
that is my question.
No, I hear you loud and clear. I understand your question. I'm not trying to drift away from the question. I'm not trying to say that I do not understand the question. Your question is very simple.
These are the actual,
employee retention is...
Employee retention is not the point. The point is the loyalty of the employee where he has taken the training. I mean, I have not. Either you convert my business into the training institute and give me all those facilities and I should start charging them rather paying them.
It is definitely a typical pain for a small business, and I understand that.
I should charge them for giving a training.
I was a small business, and I understand what you're saying is you hire somebody, you teach them on the forklift, and then they go to a much bigger company where they're getting paid more. But then there is another stream of people who are coming in.
So again, I have to spend the time and energy to train them. And then that is the point. And that is the actual point.
And you're actually you're hiring them at a lower cost.
How far? See, this is what happened in the last 5 years. I keep on recruiting people, keep on giving them training, and they move on.
And where do they go?
And then they go to competitors or some other businesses or industries,
So-
right? So I again hire them, train them, and then again they leave. So I should be at the position where when I hire somebody with the understanding, and I should write a proper contract with him. Okay, I'm writing this contract. You have to stay here for 2 to 3 years minimum, and at the same time, the 6 months training, I will not be paying you. You will be paying me for that training. I mean, this kind of legislation should come. Maybe member bill should come from you.
So, Sudhir ji ne main fasa liya hai.
No. This is the actual concern of small businesses.
Employee retention is always an issue, and especially for the small businesses.
No, it is not the issue in terms of retention. Retention, we can always.
It is retention, right? I mean, you got somebody new.
I have experience of the people who I employed here. They came working with me and they retired from our office.
So they did not move.
So question is not, the question is the latest people, like the one who are taking the training and skills development in the various institute, who came from India, basically wanted to immigrate, wanted to have that, fulfill for doing a job for 2 years in an industry so that they can apply for the immigration. So those people, their loyalty is not there, their skill is not there. Even if after taking the, a proper education, degree or diploma or say certifications from various institutes, they don't know the actual job. I'm being very honest. And that is not the case only with our industry as a media industry, but this is the case with majorly all small businesses and medium scale businesses. You have to train them. So there should be a co-op program from those educational institutions where they are taking a diploma or certification. They should come and work 6 months at least under the co-op in those industries to get the proper, skill development and training, and then they can join, they can go anywhere. Since they were on the co-op, so it is not a burden on that small business or medium scale industry.
So there is actually a program on that, wherein you get there is an organization, youth organization in Malton, for an example. What they do is they actually will give you the student or the employee. I would call employee. It's usually a youth. It's not usually a student. It's a youth, and that youth will be with you for 16 weeks, paid by the government, and I think it is a federal government program.
Federal initiative.
It's a federal initiative. So you actually get paid for 16 weeks by that organization, and I can give you that organization. Raptors Eclipse is the name of the organization. So they pay you for 16 weeks, and the idea behind is that your training cost is not costing you.
Yeah.
And the idea is after 16 weeks, once the employee has the training, now they can start functioning, they can start producing, they can start giving back to you at not your cost, but at the cost of the government. And when they start paying back, what are they doing? They're paying taxes back. So when they're paying taxes, that will cover the cost of what has been paid to them.
No, that is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I always, applaud those kind of initiatives by provincial or federal government, definitely.
Yeah.
But again, the story which I was again and again repeating with Deepak ji, for the reason, since he is sitting in that hot seat, he will be able to make those changes. He'll be able to do certain things at the assembly level, at members level. So that was the point in terms of unless we in a media place do not reflect those problems, do not ask you those questions, do not emphasize on those things, or do not bring to your attention those things, those changes are not going to happen. And living in Canada, Canada being a one of the best destination for people to come, I would definitely wanted this Canadian values and systems should continue to prosper, to have that the what you call the quality of life, the quality of education, quality of workplace. All those things are required at every level. Even the employees, those are coming in, they should also have that understanding of spending that time and energy to be a valuable employee of the company, rather than hopping from one job to another job. So that was the only reason I was asking those little tough questions or pushing you?
No, they're good questions. They're very good questions. I mean, you're talking about, and I always tell everybody, I mean, it's not just you as an employer. It is at the end of the day, employee as well. Longer you stay, longer you learn, longer you will be, good at something, more benefits you can achieve through that as well. And I believe that I'm not taking away. I mean, I understand some of the employees will ask this question. So you're asking us to stay for 2 years. Are we going to become slave? No, you're not going to become slave. That's not your intention. If the employer is bad, if you're paying $15 and they're getting $18 outside, so of course somewhere, there has to be an understanding. You are getting paid at the market value to the potential the work you're doing. So those are very complex things, and I understand those.
I'll make it. I'll make it little easier for people to understand. I mean, since we are doing this interview with you, and people will be wondering what I'm talking about. So let's say one thing in a very simple language, right? An employee who is producing a good quality work, right, is bringing. Definitely there's an ROI. For the company. So if there is an ROI, so there is no question of underpaid anyway. And government has put certain criteria and definitions where you have to pay this kind of money to the employee. And if employee is working hard and doing those things and bringing that revenue to the company, definitely company is going to look after him anyway. As what I said earlier, there are people who joined me and retired from here. So there is no question in terms they build up their homes, they build up their children's education, they did all those, they even got their children's marriage done. So there are various things are there. It is basically, unless you stay, I'm not saying in my organization, in any other organization, any small businesses or medium scaling businesses, you stay there, your growth will be there definitely. I'm not saying no. Definitely, I have not seen anybody who stayed over, got the skill, got the training and everything. They stayed over and they got enormous kind of help from that industry and from that companies as well. So my point here is with Deepak ji is, let's do something to bring that quality of employment for employer and employee both. That was my concern. Deepak ji,
thank you so much.
आप क्या कहते हो?
Again, back to, we had this conversation, so absolutely. So what I would suggest is, if you want something that I can take to the parliament, I'll be happy to take it. You put together a concept.
Yes.
And I will happy to discuss with some of the other MPPs and come back to you.
Definitely. So any of those small businesses, SMEs.
And for that matter, any issue you look outside in the society or the community, which is for the betterment of the community and the society.
Yes.
You have that idea, you bring it to the table, and let's review it together. And if it is possible, absolutely, why not?
See, most of the industries, I mean, doesn't matter what kind of industries they are doing their role socially and at the same time for the government, for the province, for the country, in terms of developing their skills and giving them the training. So they should be part of that system who you are in charge for, the skills development and training program. So that my point was, in terms of let's put something together. So there is a win-win situation for the government, for the employer, as well as for the employee. So that was my concern. So I hopefully I put forward that concern logically and best of way, so that you understand and the audience, those are watching us, will also understand. Now we'll ask Deepak ji the new initiatives he's involved with.
So I'm actually involved with all these initiatives that you're talking about, with the skill development and training and the OYAP program. OYAP program is very, very close to my heart. I mean, in fact, I've reached out to all the high schools and I'm meeting more people. This is one. Another some of the things which I'm doing is, there are 3 things which are very close to my heart. The number 1 is blood donation. And I'll tell you why blood donation is very important to me. Sudhirji, in this province, you won't believe this, about 83% of the blood or the plasma which is required does not come from donation. We actually buy it. So literally speaking, 83% of that money is being sent to other countries, other places to buy that blood. Only 4% of the people in province of Ontario donate blood.
Oh.
So look at this simple thing. I'm going to very simple. I'm not only talking about good work. अच्छे कर्म करना अच्छी बात है. But it's not only good karma. It is actually a financial burden also. When you donate 1 liter of blood, your government has to buy 1 liter of blood less, and you're saving that money. And we can take, and that money is not, government doesn't make money. Government gets the money from you as a taxes. So that's one thing which I'm always advocating. We actually do 2 blood donation camps through our office, and I will highly encourage, and I repeat my word, 100 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ 4 ਬੰਦੇ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਨੇ ਸਿਰਫ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਲੱਡ ਡੋਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ. ਔਰ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਦਿਨ ਅਸੀਂ 83% ਦੇ almost close to 83% plasma and blood ਅਸੀਂ buy ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ.
So I will request all the people, those are watching this show, listening to Deepak ji, would encourage them to go to their local doctor, their family doctor.
No, there's a Canadian Blood Services.
Or their Canadian Blood Services, or the nearby hospital where you register yourself for the blood donations. Whenever there's a camp, they'll inform you. You can go donate the blood, which will be useful for the patients in that hospital or overall, and at the same time will help Canadian economy also. So yes, definitely I'll be part of that initiative of Deepak ji. We'll keep on progressing on that, talking about those things for the blood donation, and encourage most of the people to come forward. Any other initiative, Deepak ji?
Sudhir ji, I'll keep going on. I'm getting a call from my office, but I'm absolutely...
What we'll do, we'll bring him back. We'll bring him back shortly, and we'll talk about those things.
There's a lot we can do.
His parliament session is going to start very soon.
Yeah.
Once that parliament session starts, so we'll invite him one of those days when he's little free to talk about more issues with Deepak ji, and it will be a good point for you for the reference, as well as to know what government is doing and what Deepak ji is doing. Thank you very much, Deepak ji, for part of this show, and I thank you all those listeners and watchers of VNN, especially this show. I am Sudhir Anand with Deepak Anand ji signing off. Thank you.
Thank you so much.